Does the TV show Outlander reveal a secret Masonic handshake? We've got to talk about this. Welcome to the Scottish Rite Freemasonry channel, everybody. I am Maynard Edwards, 32nd degree KCCH Scottish Rite Freemason. Before we get into the video, come on, subscribe to the channel. If you're a brother Mason, leave a comment below. If you've got a question, you can drop a comment below with your question or send me an email, podcast@scottishrite.org. Easy to get a hold of. And don't forget the thumbs up button. Give us a like. It helps us make more videos, and that's what we want to keep doing here on the Scottish Rite Freemasonry channel. Every week or two, I will get a text or an email or a call from somebody who says, oh, I just saw this movie, I just saw this show, and they revealed a Masonic thing. And usually, this is by people who are not Masons, that are just, casual friends of mine or what have you. And I got one of these calls about 2 weeks ago, and then I got another, and another, and another. And a bunch of people have said, oh, you got to see this, you got to see this. And it's all about the show Outlander. I will confess, I had not watched Outlander before about a week ago. I decided to start watching it, and I started with season 1, episode 1, like, a normal person would. And people are still blowing up my phone saying, you got to check this out, you got to check this out. So I have skipped ahead and spoiled the show for myself so I can discuss this Masonic revelation on the channel. And so the revelation comes in episode 1 of season 6. Now, I have no real context for what is going on here, so I'm going to watch it with you, and I will give you my honest reaction about each thing that happens, and hopefully I will not spoil this series for myself. Okay, so I've got my iPad, and I've got this episode queued up to the first alleged Masonic exposure, and it's 9 minutes and 14 seconds. Episode 1 of season 6, and the episode is called Echoes. So let's go. Go. Okay, as secret handshakes go, that has to be the worst secret handshake I've ever seen.
Give me some.
I mean, if you're going to have a secret handshake, it has to be a little less obvious than that. What I will say with regard to Masonic grips or handshakes is, first, that is nothing like a Masonic grip or handshake, so that is not a legitimate Masonic exposure. Secondly, there's nothing really secret about them. It's simply a way for one Mason to identify another if it's somebody that you don't know, or even just as a friendly greeting from one brother to another. Remember, Masons have sort of pledged to help one another out in tough times. So if a guy approaches me and says, hey brother, I need some help, I kind of need to know whether or not he is actually a Mason. And these private ways we have of identifying one another is the way that we do that. So it's not anything nefarious, it's nothing evil or secret, it's just a private way of saying, I'm a brother, tell me that you're a brother as well. It's really that simple. This next scene starts at exactly 19 minutes into the episode.
I saw you and Christy. Your greeting.
Oh, secret handshake.
Make me a Freemason.
Hang on, hold it, stop right there. This scene takes place in 1753. So at this point in Masonic history, Grand Lodges have been established, the initiation rituals, the Fellowcraft rituals, and the Master Mason rituals have all been put into place, and even high degree Masonry has been around for 2 decades in 1753. So the idea of just rolling up on somebody and saying, make me a Freemason, not really accurate. Can someone become a Mason on sight? The answer is yes. In most Masonic jurisdictions, that is, most jurisdictions governed by a Grand Lodge, the Grand Master has the authority to make someone a Mason on sight. In other words, he can wave his hand and say, boom, you're a Master Mason. This is usually reserved for very special occasions, very important people, or extenuating circumstances. Again, this is most Masonic jurisdictions, not all. You don't want to ever say all in Freemasonry because there's always some exception to the rule. But let's say a guy is wanting to become a Mason and he suddenly has to go off to war. A Grand Master might come forward and say, okay, I'm going to make you a Master Mason on site since you're getting ready to ship out. We don't want to hold that up and you're not going to be here to go through the process, but we want to make you a Mason. Boom. I know instances of Masons who have been made Masons on site weeks or months before they pass away. They're on their deathbed, they decide they want to be Masons, and a Grand Master will come forward and say, okay, I'll make you a Mason before you pass, if that's a dream of yours. Also, very important people, and I'm talking about, presidents or people who are very busy. One that jumps to mind immediately is Douglas MacArthur. He was made a Mason on site in the Philippines. He wanted to be made a Mason, obviously a busy guy, and so the Grand Master in the Philippines said, boom, you're a Mason, made him a Mason on site. So it is something that can happen, but unless the character in this scene, the guy in the red coat, is a Grand Master, and it certainly doesn't appear as such, he can't just say, make me a Mason, and then that guy makes him a Mason. So that's not a thing. Okay, let's see how this scene progresses.
Why? Have you no regard for your Pope?
Oh.
You'd be excommunicated.
I'm going to give him half credit on this. In 1753, it was very likely that if a man was a Catholic and he made it known that he was also a Freemason, he would have been excommunicated. That is absolutely the truth. In the modern age, that's not necessarily the truth. There is a papal ruling from 1983 that says Freemasons won't be excommunicated, but they will not be able to receive Holy Communion. They can't be godparents and things like that. I am not a Catholic expert in any sense of the word, so if that's something you have a question about and you are a Catholic, it is my suggestion that you speak to your priest, your church, what have you, and get a ruling on that. To be clear, Masonry has no problem accepting Catholics into our fold. I know many men who are Catholics and Freemasons, but the Catholic Church doesn't really want its members becoming Freemasons, and its reasons are reasons of the Catholic Church. I don't really have a full understanding of what they are. I'm not going to offer an opinion on them at this point, but I will tell you that this I kind of give them credit for. In 1753, yeah, this guy probably would have been excommunicated if he made it known to his church, to his priest, to his bishop, to whomever, that he was a Mason. They probably kicked him out. So let's see how it goes.
Any man can be a Mason,
True.
so long as he believes in a supreme being,
Also true.
as I do.
I've said this many times on the channel, you don't have to subscribe to any particular faith. You don't have to be a church-going individual. You just have to believe in a supreme being, and whatever that means to you. I think that may be why some churches, and perhaps the Catholic Church among them, have a problem with Freemasonry, because people argue over what we call God, which is why in a Masonic lodge, we refer to God as the grand architect of the universe or the supreme architect of the universe. It's to make it non-denominational. So men of all faiths are welcome into Freemasonry. What he says there is 100% correct. Let's keep going.
We'll have no more of this senseless fighting.
Senseless.
Catholics versus Protestants. We may not be stonemasons.
But we are.
All of us, Scots. From now on, this prison will be a lodge. We will be Freemasons, united by our belief in the great architect of the universe.
Interesting.
Where any talk of politics or religion is forbidden.
Wow. Very, very interesting stuff. I think what this guy is going for is that evidently the Catholics and the Protestants have been fighting, and he's looking for a way to get the fighting to stop. And by making everyone Masons, it means that they can't talk about religion or politics in a lodge setting. So by declaring this area that they're in, this prison, I guess, that they are in as a lodge, discussions of religion and politics are forbidden. And that holds true to this day in Masonic lodges. The reason is very simple. Discussions of politics and discussions of religion are things that divide men, and Freemasonry is about bringing men together. So if this guy is having this problem where these prisoners, I guess, are not getting along, and it's this Catholic versus Protestant thing, what Freemasonry does and what bringing them into a lodge does is it says, okay, we're all going to acknowledge that there is a supreme being, and you believe what you believe and we believe what we believe, and that's it, and we're not going to talk about it, and we're just going to leave that be and focus on these other things. So I think that I'm going to give them pretty high marks for this, because that concept of Freemasonry, I think, is one of the things that has made Freemasonry so powerful for so many years. It's that we're putting aside the things that divide men, religion and politics. We're just not going to talk about those things in this setting, and we're going to work together for a common goal, whatever that goal might be. And individual lodges, as we've discussed on the channel previously, have different goals. Some of them might be community engagement, some of them might be to raise money for charities, some of them might be to study history. In this case, these guys obviously are in prison and they're trying to survive, so their goal in making everybody a Freemason and making this lodge out of the prison is to put those political and religious differences aside and work together for a common goal. So all things considered, I'm giving Outlander pretty high marks when it comes to Masonic content. That first little bit with the fake handshake, that's not a thing. You can't just say, hey, make me a Freemason, and boom, you're a Freemason right then and there. That's not a thing. But the concepts and the ideas that they talk about with regard to Freemasonry are pretty spot on. So I'm impressed, and I'm looking forward to watching the rest of the show. I'm in the middle of season 1 watching it correctly, but everybody was blowing up my phone, so I had to go ahead and jump ahead to episode 1 of season 6. If there's something else in here you want me to check out, or another TV show you want me to check out, drop it in the comments below. I'm Maynard Edwards, 32nd degree, KCCH, Scottish Rite Freemason. Don't forget, subscribe, thumbs up, comment. We'll see you next time. Hey, if you're watching this video and you want to learn how to become a Freemason, click this video right here and it's going to give you a step-by-step process to follow on how to connect with a Masonic lodge. And if you're already a Master Mason interested in joining the Scottish Rite, click this link right here and it's going to take you to the Scottish Rite website where you can sign up to become a Scottish Rite Mason right now.